they ain't coming close to me. Flow is on atomic, I'm starting fires through poetry. The heart's out, staying loyal, no falling out. And if you step into the court, be ready, we ballin' out, yeah. I just gotta go hard. Go hard, go hard, go hard.
And we're live. Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another edition of Weekly News with myself, Conor Mulhare, and the inimitable, vicious, amazing Mr. Nico Jansen, my partner in crime. Nico, how are you today, brother?
I'm great. And first of all, shout out once again to you as you returned like you've never been missed. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you had fun over the last couple of weeks, you and Jake. But we've switched things around this week. Jake is resting his voice. He's got a very big week coming up next week. And he's got a bit of a sore throat, so we wish him all the best and a speedy recovery. But for today, it is just the gruesome twosome. Before we get into the meat of it today, I should, of course, say thank you, as always, to our sponsors, Playson and YOLO Group, because they keep us coming back every week and make these broadcasts possible. Now, before we get started today, I should point out, in typical Weekly News fashion, we must apologise for a bit of false advertising on our part. We had planned to do a bit of a UK special today. We had the latest results out from 888 after their new CEO took over recently. And we were going to look a bit at those results and then look at some updates from the Gambling Commission on black market, combating the black market in the UK. However, this morning we were treated to a very exciting piece of breaking news from the US, which is that DraftKings has started to maybe win the battle against FanDuel and has overtaken FanDuel for US online gambling market share across sports betting and iGaming combined in the month of August. So DraftKings starting to edge ahead in that battle. However, before we get into that story properly, Nico, I think you have prepared for us your classic feature of 10 in 5. So it's time to get your newsreader's voice ready. See if you can squeeze in the 10 biggest stories of the week into 5. Are you ready?
It's an early start. So ESPN Bet could launch already in mid-November. So according to the CEO of Penn, Jay Snowden, said more vaguely, at the time the company planned to transition from Barstool Sportsbook to ESPN Bet in November, certainly before Thanksgiving. But there's no official date set yet. And then to quote him, I think we're going to be able to make a lot of noise, get a lot of attention, and you're coming in at the point in the year where people have probably burned through most of their free bet promos and deposit matches. And so to be able to sort of reload mid-year with a new app and new experience that's fully integrated with ESPN, I think that speaks to the top of the funnel, Snowden said. So, once again, fingers crossed for ESPN Bet to at least become a notable competitor in the US market. Heading over to Europe as Sky Bet falls foul of ASA monitor of Gary Neville tweets. So Skybet is the latest bookmaker to be penalized by the Advertising Standard Authority, short ASA, monitoring of gambling-related ads content deemed likely to have a strong appeal to under-18 audiences. So the advertising watchdog raised another challenge regarding a promoted tweet. This contained an embedded video clip from the Overlap Football podcast, which showed Gary Neville discussing which team might win the Premier League. And the ASA challenged whether the aforementioned individual would likely to be a strong appeal to those under 18 years of age. And this once again proved that all licensed operators are punished at the top. Probably we will just see further things and the ASA as well. Netherlands, the KSA hits LCS Limited with a €2 million fine for unlicensed gaming. Last week, Friday the 13th, LCS Limited was fined €2.1 million by the Dutch Gaming Authority, KSA, for operating its gambling website, sonofslots.com, without a license in the Netherlands, thereby breaching the strict regulations of the Gambling Act despite previous warnings and penalties. LCS continued to allow access to its site and maintain its operations. Heading over as its reporting seasons, and you already pointed this one out, 888 posts Q3 revenue slumped by... So, online betting and gaming company 888 Holdings announced on Wednesday its revenue decreased 10% in the third quarter to £405 million. And they originally had £450 million the prior year, despite continued strong customer engagement and underlying trading. So the company's digital business saw strong customer engagement with an average monthly active rising 17%, despite a fall of international average monthly actives by 2% and revenue falling 19% due to the ongoing impact, and now listen, of compliance changes in .com markets, particularly in the Middle East. So I'm pretty sure this rings a bell, because just remember when the former CEO, Itai Pasna, was made leave due to this compliance issues. And this official statement, probably half a year ago, was that, okay, there's no big impact in the compliance issues we are facing in the Middle East. It's around 2 or 3%. Turns out, nowadays, it's more than 10%. And if you want to zoom into that story, just ring me up, because one of my mates was literally facing the demon when highlighting that things at 888 are not going in the right direction. So just give me a ring or send me a DM. So Las Vegas Sands sees group-wide adjusted EBITDA top $1 billion. So Las Vegas reported a consolidated adjusted EBITDA of $1.12 billion for the 3 months to September 30th, as revenue at its Macau integrated resorts continue their strong recovery momentum. Staying at Las Vegas Sands, as they announced a $2 billion share buyback scheme as well. And quoting the LVS president and COO, Patrick Dumont, states, "We want to return capital to shareholders in a meaningful way, and we think there's a real benefit to reducing the denominator. We think it's accretive. We think there's a compound effect to share repurchase, and so we're looking forward to doing it on a regular basis." Heading over to the UK, as Sportec is about to re-register as a private firm as London delisting complete. So Sportec has officially delisted from the alternative investment market, AIM, of the London Stock Exchange, and now they will be run at a trading platform for unlisted companies, which will work as a market maker. 3 more to go. Chicago's new casino spurs concern of rising gambling harm. So the launch of Bally's Chicago Casino has seen a strong start, attracting over 80,000 visitors in its first 3 weeks of operations. However, addiction treatment experts warn that the sudden influx of new gamblers could significantly impact local communities, pushing vulnerable individuals towards gambling harm. 2 more to go, as Italy's Tonoli and Sagnola dropped from the national squad after betting probe. So, as mentioned by Sky News, the 2 individuals who had been drawn from the Italy squad facing the 3 Lions, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday, they will be investigated by the Turin Public Prosecutor's offices while at the Nationals team trading center in Coverciano. It is yet to be revealed what the 2 footballers are being investigated for, but the FIGC said the midfielders would not be in the correct frame of mind to face the upcoming matches. And 1 more to go, as Tipico launched proprietary online casino platform in New Jersey. So Tipico has pulled the curtain back on a new online casino technology platform that will debut in New Jersey as of now. And once again, I fully made the 10 in 5. Thank you for listening.
10 in 10 today, Nico, I think. But as Danny Howard says, the passion is unbelievable, and that's what it's all about. That's why we love this feature every week. Thanks, Danny, for commenting, and hello as well to Liga in Riga. How are you doing? It's nice to hear from you. And hello to Louter Media, who say, let's go Hawks. I don't know what that's all about, Nico. Maybe there's a bird watching competition on this weekend that I haven't heard about. I'm joking, of course. I'm sure that's probably a sports team. Now, speaking of sports and American sports, hi to Bogdan. Bogdan joins us once again. It's good to have you with us. So speaking, of course, of American sports and American sports betting and, crucially, American iGaming, we have the news this morning from Eilers and Krychek Gaming, our good friends who always deliver when it comes to putting together data and analysis on the US gambling market. They made a statement today showing that DraftKings managed to hold on to US online gambling market share of 31% of all US GGR in August, while FanDuel, of course, their main competitor and previously number 1, had a share of 30%. So DraftKings have just overtaken in the latest month that we have data for. I think we've got a graphic actually which can show the development of these market shares over time of the top few companies. If our producer Elizabeth can get that on screen for us, there you have it. So you see just in the very latest month up here in Q3, DraftKings have finally managed to overtake FanDuel after a kind of steady increase for DraftKings and a steady bit of a decline over the past 2 or 3 quarters for FanDuel. It's worth pointing out the little bit that's circled there is the point in Q2 2022 when DraftKings acquired Golden Nugget online gaming, which of course is the online segment of Golden Nugget, the casino operator. Thanks for that, Elizabeth. So when that acquisition happened, DraftKings said that that it would deliver an enhanced iGaming offering. It offers it a dual brand strategy for iGaming, sports betting, and fantasy sports. And it also said it would help the company to deliver something like $300 million worth of synergies between the companies. Eilers and Krajicek, of course, are very closely involved with the US sector, and they're always kind of keeping an eye on what people's products look like and who's got the best. And they suggested that, as well as the Golden Nugget acquisition, DraftKings also boasts, they said, a solid product, improving hold rates in sports betting and enhanced operational execution, which has allowed it to increase the value generated per customer in recent quarters. I think that's quite an important point. This is not all about customer acquisition anymore. It's about generating that value from each and every one of your customers. We have a nice quote here, actually, from EKG's release. They said that DraftKings' ability to reel in FanDuel using more than just brute force spending speaks to a company that is stepping away from squishy narratives, for example, NFTs and media, and harnessing the power of more focused, disciplined execution. So they're kind of suggesting that DraftKings are really laser focused now on delivering the best sports betting service that they can, and it's starting to pay dividends. We can see in some states, like DraftKings' home state of Massachusetts, and of course, perhaps the biggest gambling jurisdiction in the US, or certainly one of the biggest in New Jersey. I think we've got a graph from New Jersey, actually, which shows an even bigger lead for DraftKings. You see them there, the orange line, they're kind of way ahead. They've had a much sharper increase in New Jersey specifically than they have across the US. And they're really widening that gap between themselves and FanDuel. Thank you, Elizabeth. So still very much a state-by-state race. There's obviously different cohorts of fans and users and customers across different areas of the US. But the final kind of conclusion from Eilers and Krajicek today was that FanDuel still has the opportunity to execute and spend its way back into the top spot. So, Nico, a lot of information in there. What do you make of all this? Do you think DraftKings can hold on to this lead?
So, first of all, it will be quite interesting, and please make use of the QR code at your top left corner, because then you can literally read the article as well. And it should be noted that newcomers to the market, such as ESPN Bet and Fanatics, still have the opportunity to shake things up and could reshape the national GGR share landscape in the next 12 to 24 months. And with ESPN Bet and Fanatics, we are speaking about big companies, especially with Fanatics and their underlying existing business of all the fan shirts, the jerseys, etc. And it will just come up to the one decision-making question and answer: how much of their existing customer bases can they convert and convince with their sports betting offering as well? And I'm pretty sure DraftKings and FanDuel are not very eager for those two heavyweights to enter the market and step into the ring. But for sure, there will be one big winner. It's the customers. And we will just see, as soon as they will go toe-to-toe, how it will actually turn out. I don't see like the 3,000 sign-up and deposit bonus returning to the game, but for sure we will see significant offerings to the customers as well.
Yes, you're quite right, Nico, actually. I think those are the two brands that everybody's talking about now as the ones who could potentially disrupt things in the US. And it's certainly going to be interesting to see how that pans out over the next couple of years. Perhaps we should just mention actually a bit about ESPN Bet, because it's one of those that there was a lot of talk around it for a while and then things went quiet for a month or two. But now we know, as you mentioned during your 10 in 5, that ESPN Sportsbook is going to launch in November. It's going to work as a kind of rebrand of the existing Barstool Sportsbook, which obviously belongs to Penn Entertainment, and a full conversion of Barstool to ESPN is going to take place all at once in the 17 states where Barstool Sportsbook is currently live. Elizabeth, I'm going to challenge now because I said this was going to come up a bit later, but perhaps she can find the ESPN Bet new logo, which they revealed today, and we can show the viewers what that looks like. Isn't that exciting? So ESPN has come up with a mint green coloured logo, and it said that it chose the mint colour to be welcoming, inclusive, unexpected, and fun. So thank you for showing us that, Elizabeth. I don't know about you, Nico, but by God, I felt that was an unexpected and fun logo, didn't you?
Indeed, especially with the mint. There's also an F1 team which has the mint as well. It's the US team where Lance Stroll is and Alonso is driving for, but I don't remember the name, unfortunately. But I will look it up. First of all, shout out to all my F1 fans. No, not fans, friends. They will start sending me crazy messages. Nico, you don't know the name of that team. Yada yada yada. Yes, I do. Just didn't cross my mind. I was preparing for other stuff. And once again, shout out to Elizabeth for being put on the hot seat and coming up with a solution. So once again, shout out to the almighty boss of ours, Elizabeth. Aston Martin.
There you go. Aston Martin, of course, with their DB range, great users of the David Brown gearboxes, which are made and designed in Huddersfield, my hometown. So proud moment for me. Anyway, that's enough about David Brown. Just to mention about ESPN and Penn Entertainment, they've got a long journey ahead of them. Penn currently doesn't have any more than 5% market share in any of the states where it operates. That's in terms of online. And their stated goal is to have 20% market share nationally by 2027, which of course would put it right into the top 3 biggest operators in the US. That's going to be quite a substantial challenge, I'm sure, but they do have the capital for it. They do have the brand awareness and all the rest of it. So it's just going to be one of those very expensive experiments that we've seen many times before. Can they make it work? Well, let's see. The other brand that we mentioned was Fanatics. And I pulled up some statistics from last month, actually. The Fanatics Sportsbook, of course, is kind of in a bit of an in-between phase. We've got some places where we've got the PointsBet Sportsbook powered by Fanatics now. It's all a bit of a mix in terms of the branding. But obviously we know what's going on there. They're in a transition phase after they acquired PointsBet earlier this year. And we had some more data from Eilers and Krejcik Gaming, who are so consistent with this stuff, that during the opening weekend of the NFL season, Fanatics Sportsbook had more than 50,000 app downloads, while PointsBet saw its number of downloads grow more than 200% year on year. So quite a big kind of opening weekend for Fanatics Sportsbook, and that was driven, of course, as we all know, by that very special promotion where you could place a bet and receive a free Fanatics branded sports jersey as a kind of bonus offer. So again, we'll see if that converts to, retained players in the future and whether they can hold on to those. Of course, we all know that at the end of the day, what wins is the product. So hopefully PointsBet and Fanatics together have got the technology required to hold on to those players. So that's a little comment on the future competitors of FanDuel and DraftKings. I think it is worth mentioning the current competitors that are in the top 5 with FanDuel and DraftKings, although of course the top 5's not that relevant. Really what we have is the top 2 and then everybody else. But Elizabeth, if you could put the first graphic back up for us, if you're able to. Sorry to be annoying, but I just want to look a bit more closely. Look at that, quick as a flash. I just want to look a bit more closely at the other brands on this graph, because you can see that back in 2022, DraftKings and BetMGM were more or less neck and neck. They both had about 20% market share, maybe 22% each. And those lines have just completely diverged over the last sort of 5 or 6 quarters. So you've got DraftKings up on 31% now, and BetMGM nearer to sort of 16%. So they've really kind of fallen out of favor there a little bit. And I think part of that is probably, as EKG pointed out, thanks Elizabeth, part of that's probably all to do with the iGaming offering. We know that BetMGM are kind of leaders in the iGaming space, but DraftKings, by acquiring Golden Nugget Online, have kind of taken that advantage away in some sense. And of course, in 4th and 5th, you had Caesars and BetRivers, which are just kind of plodding along with 5% each, just going slowly but surely. So, I mean, Nico, what do you think when it comes to brands like BetMGM, Caesars, BetRivers? Is there a way back for them? Can they ever hope to challenge the dominance of the big two?
Yeah, so the two companies which you just mentioned, ESPN Bet and Fanatics. Just let me make one point on this one. For those two, they are in a quite unique position, as they have existing customers already, right? With ESPN, with over the OTP offerings, they can convert existing customers. Same applies to Fanatics. You highlighted with their kind of Fanatics jersey drop, where the customers could just needed to place a bet worth like $50 or more, and they could receive a team jersey worth up to $150 from Fanatics.com. So they can rely on existing customers, and then it's just based on converting these existing customers to another vertical with the sports betting part. So for all the other brands, which we have seen also as soon as New York went online with the Caesars, literally burning $3,000 as a sign-up and deposit bonus, because they had no underlying existing customers. It was a race to the madness. Like, okay, who is offering the most insane sign-up bonus? Turned out that just after 4 weeks, the bubble just burst, and then product actually wins. And I'm pretty sure that ESPN, we are not speaking about amateurs. The same for Fanatics as well. They know how to attract customers, how to convert customers. And it's the same for the zone in Europe as well. As soon as they are able to make things right, to connect the bits and pieces, to connect the dots, I'm pretty sure they will come up with a at least conversion rate which is on the same level like DraftKings and FanDuel as well. And we're speaking about converting 65% of their existing customers. So this won't be a race to the bottom. This will be a race to just converting existing customers and put them into your upcoming vertical of the sports bet as well. And one thing is for sure, the market for all the BetRivers, etc., and also for the Bet365, who will or might enter the US market as well. And they have deep pockets, but they don't have an underlying existing customer basis. So maybe this will be quite an interesting market for the better collectives and the Catena Medias of this world, as they offer customers. Or we will just see the Fanatics, ESPN, FanDuels, and DraftKings are taking over the market completely, and the Caesars and BetMGMs just being the left out of this market as well. But one thing is for sure, it will be a thrilling, just thrilling to witness this one.
Yeah, quite true. It's an interesting comparison to DAZN over here in Europe, because I think one of the big challenges for brands like these is okay, so maybe you have sports DNA, but does that really convert to betting and gaming DNA? The question is, can they really be able to operate in such a way that's actually fully competitive with these companies that are just completely betting and gambling focused from the ground up? So it's an interesting one to watch, and obviously, like you say, they're no amateurs. They've partnered with the right people in PointsBet and Penn Entertainment. So time will tell. I think that I think that the shared expertise between ESPN and Penn Entertainment, and between Fanatics and PointsBet, are going to have the potential to produce something pretty special. But like I say, it's a very expensive experiment, and we'll see. And all that comes down to precisely the point that Bogdan has just made, that many companies tend to overlook retention and place excessive emphasis on acquisition alone. This is a significant and costly mistake, he says. Bogdan, I couldn't have put it any better. You're quite right. So it's all good to give people a nice expensive jersey in exchange for their $50 bet, but the question is, when they want to bet another $50, are they coming back or not? So we'll see. Just to round this off, Nico, I think we've had a nice discussion about all this, but we've got one more little graphic to look at, which is about the share prices of DraftKings and FanDuel's owner, of course, Flutter Entertainment, over the last 12 months. So you can see that they're both up over the last 12 months, but the stories are quite different. DraftKings is just constantly growing over the last 12 years. Very steady, very strong growth. In fact, it's up 118% in the past 12 months, currently trading at $28.89. I remember in January this year when shares in DraftKings were trading for $11, and I knew it was a buy, and I didn't buy any. So there you go. It just shows, when you know. So you got to trust your instincts. That's not investment advice, obviously. And let's look at Flutter's share price there as well. I mean, they are up, but they've had this kind of big peak in May this year. So over the last 6 months, shares in Flutter Entertainment are actually down by 18%. Thanks for showing that, Elizabeth. Obviously, it's a slightly different proposition. Flutter has a lot of brands and it's active in a lot of markets, so it's not purely a reflection of what's happening with FanDuel. But we can see very clearly all that confidence of the market coming back into DraftKings. You see all those trades and all that trading volume shaping up to really increase the price there. So there you go. That's what I think. It's the share prices are reflecting people's confidence and reflecting the performance of the past 6-12 months. What do you think? Would you have bought $11, Nico? Do you wish you could travel back in time? I know I do.
Yeah, but then investing into options. But as the both of us know, so you and me, we just needed to, reallocate our equity as we had the final offer to buy a Bugatti. And that's why sometimes you just need to, grab chances as soon as they occur. And of course, we could have invested into options on DraftKings, and fingers crossed they will come back to their former heights of $75 per share. But sometimes it's just good to put something behind the firewall. And that's why the both of us have a nice engine just parking in front of our fancy flats. And that's a good thing as well, isn't it?
That's right. What colour's yours, by the way?
It's mint. Mint is the new black. Mint is the new black. So it's all good. It's all
I
good.
must say, Nico, that is welcoming, inclusive, unexpected, and fun. So good for you. Okay, have we got any more comments to make? Do you think we've missed anything out of this discussion?
No, not based on this this discussion, but to round things up, because we actually missed out on the black markets, but we probably will come up with a special next week, as there's something happening in Germany regarding the black market and how it actually increases. And two messages are going out there. First of all, shout out once again to one of the founders of Next.io, to my almighty partner and the other half of the dynamic duo. It's Pierre Lind, because he came up with the hashtag Bring Back Pontus. So, based on this hashtag, Pontus Lindström, who was, let go by one of the board, and he just came back, as Hollywood loves a comeback. He just gained the seat of the king once again, and he delivered. He delivered during the Gaming in Germany conference, when he literally nailed it, why the existing regulation doesn't make that much sense. And it was a blast just listening to that guy. And this is the second thing I just want to make. He is such a lovely guy. I just had the chance to talk to him once again, just after his presentation, and it was fun talking to him. As said, we might come up with a special within a short period of time, just aiming for what's happening in Germany, especially with the black markets revenues, and fingers crossed we will get the almighty Pontus on this stream as well. So take it and see it as a cliffhanger. There will be more to come.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Let's see what happens next week. We make no promises, but we'll see what happens. So I think that's all that's left for us to say, is to thank once again our sponsors, Playson and YOLO Group, for their continued support for us here at Weekly News, and also to all of the commenters and all of our viewers who keep the discussion going, and who very helpfully reminded you, Nico, about Aston Martin and let you know which team you couldn't remember. So Bogdan, Rebecca, Denny, Liga, everyone at Lauter Media. I think that's about it for today. So thanks everyone for watching, and thanks, Nico, to you. We'll see you back here same time next week.
Okay, thank you as well, and keep strong and stay healthy.
You too, Nico. Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
They ain't coming close to me. Flows on atomic, I'm starting fires through poetry. The heart's out, staying loyal, no falling out. And if you step into the court, be ready, we balling out, yeah.